Hey guys, so today we're on chapter 3 in Math 6, our Bob Jones book, and we're going to be looking at lesson 21, division. And so the first thing that we need to do is we need to look at these different equations, and we need to come up with some terms that we're going to be using. The larger number, 18, in this equation here, in these equations, is what we're going to call the dividend. The smaller number is the divisor. And the answer that we're going to get is called our quotient. Now, if you look at these equations, you'll see 3 different equations, and they all have different symbols, but every one of these symbols means to divide. So on the left, you have 18 divided by 6, and then in the middle, you have 18 over 6, and on the right side, you have a little table with an 18 underneath and a 6 on the outside. Every one of these means 18 divided by 6. And so we're going to go ahead and scroll through here, and you see that 18 is our dividend, 6 is our divisor, and 3 is our quotient. Right here, we have a bunch of red boxes. So looking at this box, we're going to make some equations. We can say, well, we have 3 boxes stacked up on top of each other, and there are 4 rows across. So we have 3 times 4 equals 12. Then you can see that 4 rows across and 3 stacked on each other is also 12. So either way we look at it, we know that we have 12 boxes. Now we can say 12 divided by 3 rows stacked on top of each other equals 4 rows across. And again, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So many different ways we can look at this, but what you see here, 3 times 4 equals 12, 4 times 3 equals 12, 12 divided by 3 equals 4, and 12 divided by 4 equals 3. This is what we call a fact family. And so all of these numbers, 3, 4, and 12, they all have a relationship and they're in a family. And so this is what we're going to be looking at. And so what you notice here is that division is the opposite of multiplication. We can multiply to check our division, and we can divide to check our multiplication. On this side, you're going to see 6 times n equals 54. N times 6 equals 54. Now, in order for us to solve for n, we're going to have to divide. We're going to have to divide 54 by 6. And 54 divided by 6 equals 9. And we can come up with it by skip counting up from 6 to 54. Or we can do long division, which we will see shortly. So we know that our answer is n equals 9. What we have here is a part whole piece. And so your whole on the left-hand side is 54. And it's saying you're going to take this whole item and you're going to split it up into groups of 9. And if you split this whole item into groups of 9, you're going to have 6 groups. Now on the right, it's saying something slightly different. If your whole is 54 and you want to make groups of 6, you will then have 9 groups. So all of these are different ways to show divisions. These boxes at the bottom are called part-whole equations. Now let's do a word problem to show our knowledge and to help us flesh this out a little bit. Alexandra has 77 apples. She will place an equal number of apples in 3 baskets. How many apples will Alexandra place in each basket? So we have to think here. We have 3 baskets and 77 apples to divide between them. So your mind should be drawing some pictures. Let's put them out on paper now. It says 77 divided by 3. Now here's another way that we're going to do it if we're going to do a long division. We're going to go 77 divided by 3, and we're going to draw our little table here. What we're first going to do is see that what digit does 3 go into? Does 3 go into 7? Yes or no? And 3 does go into 7, and it goes into 7 2 times. So 3 divided into 7 goes 2 times. So we're going to place our 2 up top, and we're going to multiply 2 times 3, and that is going to give us 6. All right, so 2 times 3 gives us 6. So we're going to put our 6 right under that first digit, which is a 7. Then we're going to subtract 7 minus 6, and we are going to get 1. Now, 3 can't go into 1, so we need to move over to our next digit, which is also a 7, and we need to bring that down. 3 goes into 17 5 times. And so we're going to place our 5 up top. And we know that because we can skip count to get to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oops, 18's too far, so we know it's 5, 15. Then we're going to say 5 times 3 equals 15. And we're going to put 15 right there under 17. Then we're going to subtract, and we're going to get our 2. And 2 is then going to become our remainder. So we know now that of our 77 apples, we can put 25 in each basket. And so I have 3 baskets of 25. And we're going to have 2 apples remaining. So here's our answer. There will be 25 apples in each basket. All right. So right here, we're going to check ourselves. So in order to check ourselves, 25 with a remainder of 2 to make sure that we're correct, we're going to say, all right, 25, our quotient, times our divisor, 25 times 3 equals 75. Then you're going to add your remainder, and you'll come up with 77. Because we came up with our dividend, we know that we did our problem correctly. Now we have here a 100 block, 2 10 blocks, and some single blocks, and these represent 128. And so we're going to divide the number 5, our divisor, into our dividend, 128. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to divide it all up. So first, we know that 5 cannot go into 1. So we're going to move over to the next digit and put 5 into 12. So 12 divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 5 then is we're going to multiply now our top number times 5. And we're going to get 5 groups there. And 2 times 5 is 10. Okay? Then you're going to take 12 and subtract 10. That's going to give you the number 2. 5 cannot go into 2. So now we know we need to bring down our number 8. Okay, so 5 can go into 28. And we know by skip counting by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, that it will go, and then 30, it will go in 5 times, but it will not go in 6. So we need to then put the number 5 up there. Then we will multiply 5 times 5, and we will get 25. Then we need to subtract 28 minus 25 will give us 3. So if you see up here on the blocks, they've sorted everything into 5 groups, and we have 3 blocks remaining. So your remainder will be 5. So the answer of 128 divided by 5 is 25 with a remainder of 3. 5 will go into 128 25 times with a remainder of 3. We have another problem here. Jorge's school collected 3,624 cans of food for the Thanksgiving food drive. The teachers will divide the cans of food equally among 6 homeless shelters. How many cans of food will each shelter receive? Now, before moving on, we need to think about what this question is asking us exactly. It's saying that we have 6 homeless shelters in which to divide our cans up in. So we're going to have groups of 6, and we need to fit our 3,624 cans into each one of those groups as evenly as possible. So let's look at the problem and see what we need to do. So here we have it on paper, 3,624 divided by 6. Now, as you've seen in my last problems, it's very, very important that you line your digits up accurately, right, and under the right in line. That way you do not mess up your addition and subtraction. So let's solve this problem. First, we're going to look at the first digit, which is 3. 6 divided into 3. And when we know that 6 doesn't go into 3 because 6 is larger than 3. So we need to move over to the next digit, which is 6. So that makes our number 36 that we're working with. So 6 does go into 36. And we know this because it's larger. So we can skip count by sixes to see how many times 6 goes into 36. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. We know that 6 goes into 36 6 times. So 6 times 6, we will then multiply 6 times 6, and we will get 36. That will leave no remainder. The next thing we need to do is bring down our next digit. Now 6 cannot go into 2, so we need to put a 0 up there. All right, and then we'll put a 0 up there, multiply it across 0 times 6. That will give us 0. 2 minus 0 is equal to 2. Now we still have another digit to work with, so we need to bring down our 4. And so 6 can go into 24. So let's skip count till we get to 24. 6, 12, 18, 24. So that leaves us 4. So 4 times 6 is 24. So that gives us 0. So we now know that our cans can go to 6 homeless shelters, and we can give each homeless shelter 604 cans. So see, right there, it says each shelter will receive 604 cans. Here's another problem. Erica needs to place 43 sandwiches in a refrigerated display case. She plans to place 4 sandwiches per row in the display case. How many rows of 4 sandwiches will there be? So here we have it. We have 43 under our little table with the 4 on the outside. Now this is called long division because we do it by hand, step by step. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to look at our digits. And our first digit is a 4. So our divisor is 4, and 4 can go into 4. So 4 goes into 4 one time. Then we're going to multiply. 1 times 4 equals 4. Then, of course, you're going to subtract 4 minus 4, and we're going to get 0. The next thing you're going to do is bring down the next digit, 3. 4 going into 3, it doesn't do that. So you're going to have to put a 0. Then 0 times 4 will give you 0. So you know that you now have 3 left over. So that is 10 with a remainder of 3. So the sandwiches, you can put in 10 rows and have 3 left over. Now to check yourself, you will take your quotient and you'll multiply it by your divisor, and that will give you 40 plus 3 more, which is your remainder, will give you 43. And so because you can take your quotient, multiply it by your divisor, and end up with your dividend, you know that you have done this problem correctly. Next, we're going to talk some more about fact families. We talked about it briefly earlier. We have the numbers 3, 8, and 24 listed here. We know that 3 times 8 equals 24. We also know that 8 times 3 equals 24. Now we realize that 24 divided by 3 equals 8, and that 24 divided by 8 equals 3. This is a fact family because you can use the commutative property and you can move your factors around 3 times 8 or 8 times 3 and get the same product. You can also use your dividend and your divisors and get your quotients, and you can swap them around as well. So 3, 8, and 24 are part of a fact family. Now here we have another math problem. We have 40 balloons tied in groups of 4. This is going to be a whole part problem. So if we have 40 balloons and we want to divide them into groups of 4 balloons each, we're going to have 10 groups. So here it is as an illustration of 40 total balloons broken up into 4 balloons each, which gives you 10 full groups. Whole, part.